Hello, and welcome to the Iron Spoon Kitchen. In 1876, at the American Centennial in Philadelphia, people tasted authentic Southern fried chicken for the very first time. I found the original recipe published by the Women's Centennial Committee, but this recipe looks nothing like what we have for today for fried chicken. If our ancestors were right, it means modern fast food has completely ruined a great classic. I just made this, and what I found out about 150 years of fried chicken, you need to see for yourself. So join me today for Southern Fried Chicken. Cut the chickens in pieces and season them with pepper, salt, and a dust of meal. And what that means is cornmeal. And then fry them. After which, lay them on a dish and cover to keep warm. There's your recipe right there. And so I'm not going to be adding any more salt because I put this in a brine. Here's a picture of the brine earlier today. And I did that, it was 1 tablespoon of table salt to 1 quart of water. And that seemed to work best for this bowl that I had. And so I brined them in there for probably right about 2 to 3 hours, something like that. And so I'm not going to be putting anything on there except for the pepper, since it already has the salt there. And plus, it also says here to cook it up in hog fat. Yes, indeed, it says hog fat right here. So we're going to have to get that from the larder. So let me get that. Yeah, oh, I think I see it. Yep, there it is. Got it. Hog fat, that's what we need. Well, I guess really it's just bacon grease, but more fun to say hog fat. So I promise that's the last time I'll say it, at least like that. So let's get our grease. And so I'm going to use this bacon grease, and then I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil to it also, because that has a high smoke resistance or high smoke temperature. And so that's it. And it does say to add a little bit of, let's see what else. Oh, you can make a little cream gravy also. So we'll see about making that as well. Now some of you may be saying, oh, you're brining it? Isn't that a modern technique? Nope. Nope, it is not a modern technique at all. In fact, what they did before was that they would take the chicken, and after it was killed, and take all the feathers off and everything, they would put it in a salt water solution in order to draw out the blood. Now, it also had a byproduct of making the chicken taste a little bit better and more tender. And I don't know if that was known at that time, probably so. But it really wasn't until about the 1980s and 90s that you see that rediscovered again in cookbooks and in cooking shows. So we didn't need to do that to draw out the blood, but we are going to use it for flavoring, for getting that salt in there, and for making it a little bit more tender. And if you've never used a brine before, I can tell you it's the way to go. Even if you just did it for like 30 minutes or an hour. For like chicken tenders or something like that. But this is a whole chicken. I cut this whole chicken up earlier today. Okay, I think it's time to start getting this, start getting all the pepper on here. And then I'll dip it in a little bit of cornmeal. So I think you get the idea with this. So join me over here, and we're going to get ready to fry up some chicken. Hey, I've got all the chicken seasoned. And I've got our cornmeal here. And I've got a little bit of flour. And there's an 1824 recipe from Virginia that just calls for flour in it. Now, of course, it's not like the flour we have today. The flour they had back then was very different because it was the whole germ and the whole seed from the wheat. But this is a good organic corn meal, so I'm going to have that. I put in about a cup of avocado oil, and now I get to put in the, you know what, the hog fat. That's the last time I'm going to say it, I promise. This will give it a good flavor for anyone that is not sure. And let's get that fire going. There we go. And I've got it on about medium high. So we're just going to take this, and remember I said it's already got the plenty of salt in it, and the bacon grease has salt. See, I said bacon grease. And so let's get, this is the one of the pieces of breast meat. Let's see, let's get, here's another piece. I'll put that one in a little bit of flour also. It'll definitely give it a different texture. Okay, I'm gonna let that heat up. I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, we've got our grease up to about 350 degrees. Oh yeah, that's looking good. So that's all just cornmeal right there. This one's cornmeal and flour. Let me get another one ready here. Get that leg in there. And here is a good old wing. Well, I hope you can hear that sizzling. This piece is in cornmeal and flour. Whoa, there we go. Yeah, I got on my apron. I learned my lesson with the oyster episode. Well, while this is cooking up, let's go over this cookbook that I talked about. Here's a picture of it. The National Cookery Book. Here's the cover from 1876. And this book was compiled from original receipts. And the word is receipt. They didn't use the term recipe until much later. And it was done by the Women's Centennial Committee. And so they collected all these recipes. And here's the recipe itself, the one that I read earlier. And of course, this was all at the 1876 Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. And one of the interesting things that, oh, before I go on, here's a ticket that was used back then. This is a copy of the ticket. And of course, we're doing the Southern Fried Chicken since it was part of the cookbook there for the Centennial. But there is actually a Southern restaurant at the Centennial. And here's the picture of it. I was really pleased to find that picture. That was a pleasant surprise. But the Centennial is very well documented. You can go onto the Library of Congress or just type in America's Centennial 1876 and you'll find lots of great information, just like I did. Here is a newspaper article from the Galveston Daily News from July 4th, 1876. And it's telling what all the plans are for the day. It says, features of the day's celebration. And the great features of the day's celebration are the picnic at Schmidt's Garden and the German entertainment and demonstration at Turner Hall. Now you think, well, that's just Turner Hall, and that is, named after someone named Turner. But if you thought that, you would be wrong, as I was. It's actually pronounced Turna. It's a German word, and it comes from turnen or turnen, to practice gymnastics or perform physical exercise. That's one of the most interesting things about this. So I've heard of that Turner Hall before, but Turner, also means in English, someone that turns the lathe and works with food, not food, but with wood. But Turner in German is the exact same spelling. Of course, it's pronounced Turnen. And it's to practice gymnastics. And it was part of a club there. Also in this, you can see that It's generally understood that all places of business will close at 12 m today, and that is meridium with an M, as we say today, AM and PM, but that stands for antemeridium and postmeridium, not meridian with an N at the end. That's a line of demarcation. One of the other things on here is talk about church services, and at St. Mary's Cathedral, the Lambiot Mass will be given by a full choir. And Lambiot, he was a Belgian Jesuit priest, and he was a composer and restorer of Gregorian chant to the Catholic Church. And it got lost along the way, just like some of these recipes. Here's a little update. I wanted you to see how everything was looking. Those wings are looking really good. Just had some extra chicken skin on there, so I'm frying that up also. That'll be good. You see, we got all that done there. Oh, I started without you. Piece of that crispy skin there, but let's see. I like this wing. Let's give it a taste. Nice and juicy. Oh, come over and take a look at this so you can see how it looks. Nice and juicy there, and nice and crispy chicken skin there. It all looks great, doesn't it? Right here I got a little bit of gravy that I made and some cornmeal muffins. I didn't really plan it, but I ended up with this great southern meal here. And hominy was part of the, was how it was served at the Centennial Exposition at the Southern restaurant. So it said that it included fried chicken and hominy. So I would say this definitely works. You don't need to have a thick batter or anything like that for it. And the seasoning is just salt and pepper. And really, after the brine, it was just the pepper. And I happened to go to the grocery store today, and they had some fresh watermelon, so I added that to the table as well. And I'm going to enjoy that a little bit later today. Well, another wonderful episode of the, if I do say so myself, but more interesting historical note on the Centennial celebration in 1876 and the wonderful history that goes behind it. So I want you to go back and find out about your own hometown or where you live. Find out about the history there. What did they do in 1876? Now, I'll give you a little clue. If you go to your public library and get a library card, you can probably access their online newspapers and things like that at no charge. So that's what I do. And we have a great library system here in my county. So give that a try, and it'll get you into that library, and they'll love to have you there. Whoa, getting hot in here. I guess I need to turn on that air conditioner. But I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. This is episode number 5. We're halfway to the July 4th. So start planning. I've given you some great ideas. And if you made it this far, please like it. And if you feel like it, go ahead and subscribe. So thank you for joining me for the Southern Fried Chicken episode of the Iron Spoon Kitchen.